It was a justifiable response.
All the people who claim to care.
See, again, another stupid progressive going off of 2020 hindsight. Just get out the way. Just get out the way of the movie that's coming at you, bro. He did, and he still got hit. Dumbasses.
About law and order or rules. They don't. Like I said, they're not even following their own rules and their own policy. But it goes even further than that.
The policy that you cited was based on pursuing a vehicle, not use of force in a life or death situation. Completely different. And I it's crazy how they just tried to, finesse that. They used the policy paper when it comes to use of force of pursuing a vehicle during a law enforcement operation, like pursuing a vehicle like they're running from you, versus use of force from a self-defense perspective.
Let's just listen a little bit more.
DHS law enforcement officers are prohibited from discharging firearms at the operator of a moving vehicle or other conveyance unless the use of deadly force of the, basically it says, unless it...
This appears to be black and white.
Well, it does. And it also says a law enforcement officer must take into consideration...
No, bitch-ass nigga, no. No. See what they just did there? See what they just did there? He didn't want to read that second part. He didn't want to hear after. He didn't want to have to read after that unless. Saw that, chat? He didn't want to have to read after that unless. Fucking got him, man. Fucking.
Gotcha, bitch.
Caught that, chat?
Gotcha, bitch.
Didn't want to read after that unless. Because there's always exceptions, motherfuckers. There's always exceptions.
Vehicle or other conveyance officers are prohibited.
In their own policy. But it goes even further than that. Let's just listen a little bit more.
DHS law enforcement officers are prohibited from discharging firearms at the operator of a moving vehicle or other conveyance unless the use of deadly force of the, basically it's...
Unless the use of deadly force is what? Oh, authorized. Oh, legal. Oh, yeah. And in this case, run him over with a car. Use of deadly force is justified. Thank you, motherfuckers. CNN, bro. Fake news. Fake news. See, here's the difference. We're talking to someone here that understands the policy and understands that policy, okay, just so you guys understand, policy is always more restrictive than the law. I'm going to say that again. Just because something is prohibited by policy doesn't necessarily mean it's illegal. Policy is always going to be more restrictive than the law because policy is to protect the agency. So what are they going to do? They're always going to be more strict in the policy versus the law. So even if it is against policy, that does not necessarily mean it is illegal. That's what I'm trying to say when I say people like Abba and Preacher are brain dead fuck that honestly have no fucking, they have no business even giving commentary on a topic like that's extremely complex, that has nothing to do with their shit hole country, that has nothing to do with their expertises. These guys don't know what the fuck they're talking about whatsoever. And the big reason why I'm reacting to them is because they're giving a lot of the stupid progressive left-wing dead point, brain dead talking points everyone else is giving, right? This policy paper that they're even talking about, which this guy's scared to fucking read the rest of, by the way, because I'm right. Let me find this policy paper for you guys real quick. This use of policy paper. Yeah. In determining the appropriateness of particular use of force, the department is guided by the constitutional law. By constitutional law as interpreted by the U.S. Supreme Court, the Fourth Amendment supplies a constitutional baseline for permissible use of force by LEOs in the course of their official duties. Okay, so what does that mean? Use of force is basically they're deferring it to the law. Right now, obviously, they can have policy that's a bit more restrictive on it, but this particular one that they're talking about, and I know it because of obviously me working for DHS or whatever, when they're talking about shooting at a vehicle, they're talking about pursuing a vehicle and trying to stop said vehicle. You cannot shoot at a vehicle to try to shoot out the tires or whatever. That's what they're talking about. They're saying you cannot shoot at a moving vehicle. Okay? That's what they're talking about for the purpose of like disabling it during the course of a chase. Because there are some police agencies out there that allow troopers to shoot out tires. There are some crazy ass state agencies that still allow that shit.
Of deadly force of the, basically it says unless it...
This appears to be black and white.
Well, it does. And it also says a law enforcement officer must take into...
She stopped him right there where she said it's pretty black and white. I like how they did that.
Consideration the hazards that may be posed to law enforcement and innocent bystanders by an out-of-control vehicle.
They claim to want law and order, but they don't want it.
Seriously? This dude is a fucking idiot, bro.
You stupid.
This nigga's really...
What I predict is that this is going to escalate so much that eventually, I think within the year, winter's going to be over because these things, a lot of these things happen in the blue states and stuff. And I can predict a shootout. It's going to escalate to shootout civilian against ICE. It's going to be a whole ass civilian war over there.
So this person doesn't follow company protocol, doesn't follow DHS protocol, is in
the government is not the same as a regular company. There is no company protocol. Policy protocol is going to be more restrictive than the law. Okay, so even if he doesn't follow policy, which he did, by the way, he did follow policy, but assuming he didn't follow policy, that's different than the legal standard. Policy is always more restrictive than the law. And agencies do that on purpose to create more protection and insurance for themselves.
Competent by any standard. And I'm just going to ask the question. Is this man a DEI hire? Just wondered. I'm just saying, I remember Charlie Kirk saying, if I see a black pilot, I'm a wonder. Okay, well, shit. I've seen a lot of traffic.
I told you he was going to come out with the Wakanda take over here.
Pops a lot of checkpoints. This is definitely the most incompetent one I've ever seen. One thing that I thought was interesting about this story is I got a chance to look up the officer himself. stuff. There's a lot of people trying to figure out who he is and what he's about.
What began as a planned federal immigration arrest took a violent turn in this quiet Bloomington neighborhood. Court documents say he repeatedly refused to comply before a federal agent took out his spring-loaded window punch with his right hand and broke the driver's side rear window. These images show the officer's hand in the vehicle. In this video, you can see the driver take off with the agent hanging from the car, dragging him 300 feet through front yards. These graphic images show the aftermath.
It's the same agent.
You know what's interesting? What these idiots don't realize is this actually makes his use of force defense even stronger. Like, these guys are so fucking that they don't realize that him getting dragged and this happening to him before actually strengthens his use of force case.
You stupid.
These two morons actually just made his case stronger. Good job. Good job. Because now, when he goes in and he gets interviewed by OPR, Office of Professional Responsibility, and probably more than likely he might have to do an interview with the state police of Minnesota. He's probably going to do one interview with all of them, just sitting there, taking the statement, right? Because I doubt his lawyer would let him do multiple interviews with multiple different agencies or whatever. But he is going to have to give a statement. He's probably going to have to give it probably in the next day or two, right? To OPR and all this other shit. And then maybe OPR will furnish it to the other agencies, right? When he articulates himself and he gives his story, he is absolutely going to talk about how he's been dragged in a vehicle before, he's been hit by a vehicle before, and that played into his decision making when he pulled the fucking trigger. And guess what that's going to do? That's going to make his use of force even more what? Audience? It's going to make it more what? Reasonable. Say it, chat. But any way you slice this shit, the shooting is clear. And not only is it clear, the fact that he has been a victim of this shit before is going to play into the justification for his force.
If you enjoy my videos, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you want to create clips like these fast, try Opus Clips. It's smart, simple, and built for creators.